Hey guys, welcome to 2020, the future. So I actually recorded a vlog a couple days ago over the weekend, but I got a new Google Pixel phone right here, and although I really like it, something about this case, which is waterproof, really messed up the audio. And I tried some trickery, and I just thought, you know what, it might sound better if I just do it again with my iPhone, and it doesn't have a case on it. Hopefully it sounds much nicer and clearer. So I'm a couple days late in welcoming you all into 2020, the future. I'm very disappointed that we don't have hovercrafts yet, hoverboards, or lightsabers. I was really expecting to have those by 2020. And by 2022, we better dang well have food replicators and teleporters. So if that doesn't happen, I'm just revolting. Anyway, I hope the new year was good for you. Go whatever you celebrate over Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate during the holiday break. I hope it was a great one for you, and you got some good stuff, and you had some good times with your family and friends. All right, so today I want to talk very quickly, very briefly about being pragmatically stubborn. That's coming up next on Madsen Musings. Okay, so being pragmatically stubborn. Pragmatic is basically going at a problem in a sensible, realistic way that's based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. And yes, I read it. I read a definition for that. I went to a dictionary, but yeah, it's being just grounded and saying I'm going to approach this problem with stuff that I've experienced, with know-how, with very practical means and expectations versus it'll be fine. I'm just going to do it. And I have a really good example, in my opinion, to share and make that point is when I was younger, about 20 years ago, when I was 20, yes, I'm 40 years old, when I was 20 and about 30 pounds lighter, the best I could do, the highest I could jump, I could touch this little box underneath the rim of a backboard. I couldn't quite touch the rim yet. I could very easily grab the net, and I could climb up and hang off the rim if I wanted to do it that way. But what I couldn't do was just jump up and touch the rim on a 10-foot basketball goal. But there's this little box, I think it's where the springs are for the rim to move. I could touch that. So I was really close to touching a 10-foot rim, 10-foot tall rim. But my goal, my dream, because I love basketball, was to be able to slam dunk. Well, think about how tall a ball is. You have to get your hand over that much to clear the ball over the rim and then stuff it in. So I never reached that goal. And now that I'm about 30 pounds heavier than I was when I was 20, I definitely don't reach that goal. Oh well, I like chocolate. And so I could have this dream, and I could be stubborn about that, like I want to play in the NBA. But by this point, being 40, the height I'm about 5'8", maybe a little bit under 5'8". The weight I am, the fitness level I'm in, it ain't gonna happen. Like I can have that dream of playing in the NBA, but my time has passed on that. And so I think about that when I work with people who are trying to get into this industry and perhaps they're struggling, perhaps they're hitting roadblock, maybe roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And it can be frustrating. It can be very demoralizing. I totally get that. I'm not downplaying that. So I have this kind of mantra, this idea about being pragmatically stubborn. You need to be stubborn. You need to have thick skin and say, I'm going to persevere and push through and make this happen. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. But you also need to be pragmatic about it. You need to be sensible. I could be super stubborn and say, I'm going to get in the NBA and keep trying out for various teams or even G League teams, even minor league type, not the top level of the pros. And I might make one of those teams, but the odds of me being picked up and playing and at least having a long career are very, very slim, especially this time in my life. They're going to look at me and say, you're past your prime, buddy, and even if we took you, even if you were an exceptional player, how long would you be injury-free and be a contributing factor to this team? Not very long. And so in your own search for game audio jobs, you have to think about it like, what am I offering to them, to the client, to the team? And what are some things I can do that perhaps other people cannot do? And am I going after something that's really, really hard to match, really hard to fill? Maybe I'm going after something that a lot of people can do really well, but I have the skill set over here that's related to audio that may not be directly audio. Let me rephrase that. if you're going off and you're saying, I'm going to be an orchestral composer, I want to write orchestral music, I would say, without any research really, just based on what I've seen, there are a ton of orchestral composers out there. A lot of people can write really, really good music in the orchestral vein. So you might be limiting yourself if you're saying, I'm going to be a composer and my genre is orchestral, and that's it. So to someone in that boat, I would say maybe stretch out to 3 or 5 different genres you can do really well, and have that be something you do. To someone who's saying, I'm just going to be a composer, I would say add in sound design if you can do that, if you can do that well at a high level. And then, if you get those 2 things down, add in implementation if you can do that really, really well. From there, do other things. I think about the fact that, like, when I was in Denver and full-time freelancing, I taught, I think at the highest point I had maybe 6 piano students. I can't quite recall. 5 or 6 piano students, just all the time, every week. They would come to my house, I would go to their house, do lessons. And then I was also teaching, at one point I had at least 2 like composition / production, like music production students. I would teach them as well. And then I got hired by the Aurora Symphony Orchestra. It's a community orchestra, semi-pro. So you had some pro players and you had some just decent citizen players, or non-professional players, if you want to call them that. I would go and record their concert series. So that would be the whole, like, setting up the mics, taping the cable down. At the actual concert, I would push record. Sometimes I worked the board for them when they were doing announcements or any talking in between the movements or pieces. And then tear down, take all that stuff back home. I would produce the track for them, produce the recording for them, and then give it to them. I did that multiple times. That was another way to make money. On top of that, I do the Fiverr stuff. So I record saxophone and record recorder or piano for people, that sort of deal. These days, right now, I'm mixing and mastering and doing some sound design, also dialogue cleanup for trailers at Funimation as a freelancer. Then I'm also working on Skatebird as a composer. Then I'm also just signed a contract to do, I can't say too much about, but a video game where I'm doing music and sound design and implementation. And then I'm teaching a piano lesson once a week to a good friend's daughter. And then I'm also considering taking on another student for production / composition lessons during the summer when they're here in town. And that's another kid about maybe 12 who's very into video games, very into music. So there's multiple ways that I'm making money. And you really need to diversify. And so if you are looking at this and you're not hitting the mark, you're not getting into where you had aimed at, you're not getting your goals, then one thing you might need to do is adjust those goals. I talked with one friend of mine who's struggling right now to make it in, and I asked that person, are you looking at freelance jobs or only looking at in-house jobs? And this person came back to me and said, I'm only looking at in-house jobs. And I said, well, maybe you're skipping out on some really good opportunities, because the more in-house jobs you get, the more freelance jobs you get, the more your resume is fleshed out. And it's so much easier to convince someone to hire you when you can say, look, all this stuff I've done over here. I've done this. That gives them more metrics to draw off of to say, this person can be trusted with his IP. This person can be trusted with my project. They're not going to ghost me. They're not going to be difficult to deal with. They're going to be a good, reasonable resource for me to use. So I'm kind of combining a couple different topics that I meant to talk about separately, but hey, what can you do? This vlog's going okay. And so when you're looking at your stuff, always be pragmatic, but also be stubborn. One of my really good friends has a great story about how they kept going for this game job at this one company. They wanted it so bad. And we're talking like years of applying and not getting to the test part. And then after multiple years of applying, they finally got to where they got some test times, but then they didn't pass the test. They didn't pass the entry to get in. And then finally they got in, they got that job, that company. That showed perseverance. But the cool thing, the thing that I think some people miss, that I've talked to you about this before, is he wasn't just sitting on his laurels when he was like, oh man, I'm not making it into this X company that I want to work for. Instead, he's doing all kinds of other things. And some of the soft skills he was learning at some of these non-audio jobs transferred over into very marketable skills that he could use for that audio job. That was one component. The other component is the fact that he was doing stuff that was audio related, and he could show I am passionate. I am still making things happen on my own. Make a good case why they should be hired by that company, and they got it. So, and plus the other thing is they were paying their bills in between. Lord knows we all have bills to pay. So, yeah, just think about that as we start this new year and you're starting new goals, new resolutions. Be pragmatic about it, but be stubborn. I've heard it said before that sometimes the moment you quit, if you had just stuck with it a little bit longer, would have been the moment you would have made it. That could be true, could not be true. I'm most likely not going to make it into the NBA despite my love of it, but there's other things I could do related to the NBA. Maybe not being an athlete, but doing some other things if I really want to push for it and go towards that direction. I hope this is okay. I think this is making sense. But anyway, I might edit this down. So be pragmatic about it. Really put your best foot forward. Have a strategy, have a business plan, and then don't be afraid to reevaluate that business plan. I think some people, when their business plan doesn't work out and they have to change, they take that as a failure. And it's not a failure. Instead, it's just adapting to the new set of conditions, new set of parameters, new set of goals you might have. So don't think of it as failure. Think of it as just you're making smart moves and moving towards a new goal that might be better for you. All right, it's kind of rambling around, but I hope that's useful. I hope it's helpful. And I hope that you had a wonderful end of the year last year, and we're all getting ready to rock it in 2020. Make it your year. Get out there and get that stuff done. If you like these videos, please hit like, subscribe, comment, throw something my way, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.